We'll go to calls right away. But briefly, Bob, what do you think some of the most important issues of 2010 were, and what do you see coming up in 2011?
Well, I think 2010 more or less speaks for itself. It was a dreadful year, but it's going to be worse this coming year. And I think the scandals that were exposed are high on the list. We just had Mr. Ratner pay a $10 million fine for getting payoffs. We have the FBI chasing down scores of people and putting them under prosecution. The criminality is rife all through the corporate world, unfortunately, and I don't have to tell you about the politicians and the people on Wall Street who are deeply implicated in the takedowns that are going on now and insider trading. But it's going to grow much bigger than that because they're going after J.P. Morgan Chase and HSBC, about 30 class action lawsuits, one of them RICO, and now they got a class action against the silver ETF, SLV. It should be hell's a poppin' this coming year because a lot of these cases are going to drag over for 1 or 2 years. So corruption, number one. Number two, the manipulation of markets. We're looking at a Dow that's trading at 11,600 that shouldn't be. Everybody in the country is catching on who's an investor that the markets are rigged, and it's got to stop. We have to have free enterprise. We have to have free and open markets. That's not what we got. We got corporatist fascism, and that's what the Federal Reserve and its owners and its figurehead, Ben Bernanke, are all about. Just because he came from an ivory tower doesn't mean he doesn't know how to operate like the mob.
Well, we saw a lot of other things happen. We saw the WikiLeaks this year. We saw Madoff come and go. We have just seen so much happen. But do you agree with me that this has been the greatest acceleration of awakening in 2010 we've ever seen to the Federal Reserve, to the New World Order, to the TSA? That's when people really have stopped laughing at folks that talk about corruption, and they either say, yeah, let's fight it, or there's nothing you can do about it. But at least, no matter what their attitude is, they admit there's a serious problem. That is very positive.
The recognition process, and that's what you and others who have programs like yours are pointing out, and that's what the Internet is bringing to us, the WikiLeaks and the extension of that, and how they went about it, the quality of what they came out with. But it's an ongoing process, and we are making great strides. The coming year, gold and silver are going to go through the roof. The market will eventually go down. Interest rates unofficially will go a little higher. They'll try to hold them down as long as they can. And there's going to be some real surprises in the second half of the program. I'm going to talk about something that corporate America is trying to get away with, and it's the theft of almost $700 billion. And so that puts it in the mega class.
It certainly does. And with that, let's now go to your phone calls. Let's go ahead and talk to James in Michigan. You're on the air, James.
Hey, how you doing, Alex and Bob Chapman?
Good.
I just want to bring up about 10 and 11. 2010 was the year that we woke up people, exposed the corruption, exposed that the government's stepping over the Constitution. And what needs to be done for 2011 is we need to get like a donation fund, like the Alex Jones Donation for Liberty Fund. And what that would do is put money in to use as far as like not bonuses, but like funding for like people that will bring out the corruption of our government. As far as like I can't think of the word. Just like bonuses for people that do bring out, like for instance, your father, where he got bribed by a dentist to join them, and that's what type of fund we should have to bring out the corruption, as far as giving them, bonuses for bringing stuff out like that.
That's just a schizophrenic statement. I appreciate your call. My dad got bribed by a dentist. They show some photo all over the internet of a guy named David Jones with bald head with gray hair, about a foot taller than my dad, and then say that's my dad. I mean, it's just totally insane. But I appreciate. I mean, it's whatever, man. Let's take another phone call here. Let's go ahead and talk to Don in Michigan. Don, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Okay, how you doing, Alex? Hope you have a good New Year.
Good. Go ahead.
I just wanted to, I guess my biggest thoughts right now, and I try to jot them down before you let me on there. City Council. I've listened to you for about a year and a half, and I'm a hypocrite because I haven't done it yet. But today I printed out my City Council meeting, and I want everybody to do that. Find out what time it is. It's only an hour of your day. Go listen to everybody. But as far as the gas prices, $4 to $5 a gallon, that was predicted, I think, on your show on October 22nd. I made somebody write it down at work, and we can see that coming. So your show is just, the information is just incredible. I mean, the information is just, it's spot on. And I saw, one thing I wanted to point out is I saw in mainstream news today, excuse me, autism, 600% increase in 20 years, 1 in 110 kids. Now, if that doesn't tell people that evil things are being done, then you're just blind. Miscarriages with the flu shots.
Well, they always knew that flu shots increased miscarriages and you don't give them to pregnant women. Last year they said this is just for women. Those are great points. And I think Jaron just corrected me. I get defensive about family because I know how good they are, and people have attacked my family and lied about them. I think the caller misunderstood a story I told last week, and Jaron remembered that, and I think Jaron was right, so I apologize to the last caller from Michigan before Don, James. There's a whole conspiracy theory out there that my dad hangs out with George W. Bush because there was a David Jones with a different middle name at a event in Houston years ago where they put a statue up, and they just say, that's his dad, that's him, he works with the Bushes. Of course, if people really wanted to talk about that, my dad has been in barbecue a couple times with George W. Bush because my sister went to the same school, private school here in Austin as his daughters did. But, I mean, I guess I'm guilty. I've told that story before. But the caller was talking about Homeland Security, not another dentist. Not another dentist. I told the story last week, and that'll get twisted around against me. It just doesn't matter. It's mental illness. I'm not by the caller, but by others. My father was approached by Homeland Security, someone in Homeland Security, not another dentist. He was approached by Homeland Security to spy on people. And it wasn't because he was my dad. Okay, they said, we want to hire you. We're trying to hire basically all professionals. And that's been in the news, that it's InfraGard and these citizen spy groups that they're doing this. And then my dad went back in the lounge and told another dentist about it, who, by the way, is a fan of my show, who's a good guy, Dr. King. And Dr. King said, yeah, I got approached 2 weeks ago by Homeland Security in my neighborhood, came and knocked on my door and tried to recruit me. So that's the story, not whatever they make up or mix together. Okay, we're going to come back with Bob Chapman and more of your phone calls straight ahead. And in fact, I'll get Bob's brief take on that. How many people must they be trying to recruit if in a dental office of 4 dentists, 2 of the dentists have been hit up in the last month separately by different arms of Homeland Security? Kaiser's coming up in about 35 minutes. We'll continue with open phones. Bob Chapman's got some big news to lay on you. I've got a lot of news I want to throw out at Bob and get his take on. But before we go back to calls, I mean, Homeland Security admits that they're rolling out TSA on the streets of America, telescreens, now at 9,000 locations, tattletale squads. But it really hits home when they're not just trying to recruit the preachers, they're trying to recruit your dad. And then your dad goes and talks to a colleague, and they're like, yeah, they tried to recruit me. I mean, that is really creepy. That sounds like worse than the Stasi, Bob.
Well, I was, when you first said it, when we went off to the break, what right through my head right away was the NKVD, and then the Stasi. I knew exactly what those people used to do, and because we used to spy on them. And, of course, after the war, you got the Gestapo recruitment and Operation Paperclip, and that was followed by the wall coming down. A deal was made to let everybody off the hook who was involved in that sort of thing in Eastern Germany previously. Marcus Wolf was responsible for the death of thousands and thousands of people, and nothing was ever done to him. And then they brought to the United States experts from what used to be East Germany, and the U.S. recruited them to tell them how to do exactly what Homeland Security is doing today.
And we reported that 8 years ago. It was even in the mainstream news, and people couldn't believe it. I mean, they're really doing it. And already with dentists and doctors and nurses, it's like, oh, ask kids if their parents are abusing them. Preemptively, guilty until proven innocent. And it's the same thing now worldwide. And once they've got them trained to spy on that, now it's, by the way, what's their political views? Well, I mean, who's going to watch the government, Bob? Who's going to keep control of the tyrants? Where's the Homeland Security to counterbalance Homeland Security?
Well, if George Orwell were around, he would have his head in his hand saying, I never thought it would really get this bad, and it's worse now.
Well, the good news is, though, they're not able to just arrest everybody at once. They're trying to set it up, but they're not really rolling out, moving against everybody yet. Sure, they tried to plant hand grenades on you. They've tried stuff like that with yours truly over and over again. But for the average person out there, they're not going to really do anything to you, folks. We're invincible. We've got the numbers. That's why they're trying to get all these spies, because they want those numbers. But they're not going to get it.
They're trying to build a giant database. I mean, look what they're doing, and this is a trial run with people who are citizens of Mexico. If you want to go to the United States now, you have to have a visa, but you have to be biometrically eyeballed, and you have to have your fingerprints.
But then if you're an illegal, they just leave you alone, though. It's the folks that want to do it right that they harass.
That's right, and they're building a database. And, of course, the present, we'll call it a regime that's in power in Mexico, is going right along with the program, because they're in office because the election was rigged and the neocons came in and rigged it for them. And they're not going to get away with it again.
And that's even come out in the Dallas Morning News, of all places, that the same folks that run Bush's operation, George W., were running it down in Mexico. And in Mexico, they make the Attorney General's employees take microchips. That's 6 years old. They, 2 years ago, made it where all cell phones are tracked in live time, and you can't have a track phone. They don't have gun ownership. What do you make of this? Then we're going to go to break and come back with calls.